Yeah, so when we get you all ready, and then because you can fill out so much and you flatten out so quickly, I'd like to get basically a transportation gradient. We want to reintroduce sodium and fluid in the body. So the sodium's in the bloodstream, and it has to pull water. And since glycogen storage requires glucose, sodium, and water, it can't pull water from the muscle because it's going back into that area. So it's got to pull it from under the skin. So when you pump up, I mean we'll track your blood sugar, but if your blood sugar starts climbing at all, I think that at some point we'll have to decide the exact timing before the show, but reintroduce those things, and yeah, so that way you don't flatten out again right before the show. Yeah. I'm not good with a camera. As soon as that goes on, as soon as it goes on, my brain's like shut down.
Well, we always look stupid on camera anyway, so it doesn't matter. Our viewers know that we're
a couple
dumb.
of things I've noticed in the high days. I would fill out slowly, and then as soon as I put sugars in, I would just go bang.
Well, but it
won't last long. I'll look like.
Yeah, it doesn't last long.
Well, I know Chad Nichols likes to load the day of on fructose. Yeah. Which is basically fruit sugars.
Yeah. But the only thing I want to do is I want to keep my waist tight.
Okay.
That was one of the things that the British that because I didn't know my blood glucose. I was like, I think I just need water because I didn't really eat much. So I just put some sodium in, and I put in about a litre of water. And I was on stage with about a litre of water in me.
Justin, what about like those like the fruit rolls with like more sodium added with it?
If you can get those, there's a type of, I don't remember the brand, but it's pure fruit sticks roll.
Yeah.
And it's fructose. The thing with fructose is it gives you a secondary pathway. Yeah. If your muscle glycogen is already filled, fructose will preferentially go to liver glycogen. Yeah. So it gives you a little. It's like a water spout where. And once this water balloon gets filled up, rather than spilling over and bursting the water balloon, it gets rediverted to this other water balloon, which would be the liver glycogen.
That's the great part about it. It won't spill over.
Yeah. So I know that's why Chad likes to use it.
I also definitely noticed as well, with the British as well, when we put the fats in, when we started putting when we ramped up the almond butter, I was already full. But then when we put the high fats in, I just got harder.
Yeah. There's I always tentatively want to push the fats harder because there's data and there's studies that show that there's a quick, not fat storage, but a fatty acid, almost like a glycogen storage in the muscle from fatty acids that happens quickly, and but the thing is, I never like to try new things, Well, it's always
You don't want to experiment with them.
Yeah, especially with someone doing one of the biggest shows in the world, but. That's definitely an option we have, and there's scientific data to agree with that. The idea that the fatty acids get stored in the muscle and kind of create a secondary cell volumization effect.
Well, I noticed that.
Yeah.
I noticed that. So when I hit the fats harder, I definitely, if I'm full and I hit the fats harder, I don't get watery. I just get harder.
Yeah. It's a secondary because you don't have to worry about spilling over because it's a whole different method from filling out as opposed to the glycogen.
Yeah. But I've got a kilo of almond butter.
Well, we can. We'll see. I'm here. I'm room 336. So we can, as often as you want to meet. Yeah, we ended up getting I think we got Josh Lenartz. How do you say his last name? Oh yeah, I think we got his.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because Brad somehow found a.
Because I'm a fucking travel genius.
Yeah, I think he found this room like 3 days ago.
Really?
Yeah. The whole hotel's been booked for months,
He's like, we can't find a hotel anywhere near there, and I'm like, dude, just leave it to me. Like,
Did you find out?
I'll fucking find it.
Can
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't actually.
Yeah, I'm technically.
Now that I'm admitting I don't know how I did it, but like, look, we're freaking. We can jump out the window and be at the venue, so it's pretty awesome.
But I just think the only other thing is as well, I don't know how you want to play any sort of mild diuretics because I don't think I can get dry without them.
I don't want to do anything you don't want to do. I'll tell you why I'm not a fan of diazide or hydrochlorothiazide and anyone that carries a large amount of muscle. And I'll tell you why, because what they do is they decrease sodium reabsorption at the distal tubule of the kidney. Yeah. So basically they flush out sodium, which is great. They remove water. The problem is what's keeping the carbs in your muscle is the sodium.
Well, yeah. The way I would if I was doing my own sort of peak,
Yeah.
this is what I would.
It is your peak. So do what you.
You know how like I know Scott Stevenson does it. I speak to Jordan Peters about that.
Yeah.
You know they a lot of people will reduce their sodium about 4 hours before they drop their water.
Yeah.
I would leave my sodium where it is.
Okay.
And just maybe use half, or maybe 12 and a half milligrams.
Hydrochlorothiazide.
Yeah, just do that instead of touching my sodium, and then cut the water.
Yeah, I do not want to cut your
No,
sodium.
no, and then the next morning, just keep my sodium as it is, and any excess would have been pushed out.
As long as you don't panic and you start, because the problem is because I think that the diazide is going to pull water, or the hydrochlorothiazide is going to pull water, which it will, but it's going to pull indiscriminately. So it's going to pull from under your skin and from your muscle.
Which is why I think that's why I would rather keep sodium really high and not fuck around with that.
Yeah, as long as you don't panic and the day of the show start thinking that if you flatten out a little bit, okay, yeah, because then if we bring sodium back in the day of the show, then we should be fine.
So a lot of people they'll go the route instead of using a diuretic, they'll just reduce their sodium, then cut their water, then bring their sodium back in. Whereas I personally would feel more comfortable just leaving my sodium exactly the same.
Yes.
Using a very small amount just to deal with the excess sodium, and then cut water, and then leave sodium in for the next day.
I can do. I'm fine with that. Again, as long as I just worry that because you'll dry out, but you'll also flatten out a little bit, and I don't want you to panic the day of the show. That
no, I don't want to be fat.
All right.
I mean,
Listen to Justin.
I've only bought one 50 milligram tab of hydrochlorothiazide.
Okay.
And we can call that for you.
Yeah. Okay.
I hate aldactone or all that. I hate
Yeah.
It's awful. But I think in terms of control, I would rather use like a hydrochlorothiazide to control sodium.
Okay.
Rather than just stop eating sodium, because I don't know. I've noticed if I would have done it, if I've done a trial run.
Yeah.
If I just stop eating sodium for like a couple of hours and then re-add it, I just go up.
Yeah, you carry so much size around us now that I think at this point, I'm not a fan. Cutting sodium, the thing is, with smaller female competitors or small male competitors, you can cut sodium, you can do all kinds of crazy things with sodium, because they don't have the muscle mass to flatten out. Them flattening out 1% of their muscle size is them losing a pound of water. You flattening out 1% of your muscle size is losing a shit ton of fluid from the muscles.
Well, I have about a bucket of soy sauce for every meal anyway.
Okay.
I can,
if your sodium's high, I'll agree with that then.
Yeah, just to push out some excess water without being. That's as crazy as I would go using a tiny little bit.
So how would you do it if you didn't take the diazide then?
If he didn't, I would reduce water. It would be we'd keep sodium in. We'd taper water the last day. It would be a more basic day of the show prep. Basically, we wouldn't worry as much about reintroducing sodium. The thing is, we've been doing videos all day about diuretics. The problem with diuretics is like Chad's diuretic, the mercurial diuretic, it didn't affect sodium. It was I think it worked on vasopressin or antidiuretic hormone. I don't even know, but so it flushes water through a different mechanism. The problem with flushing sodium is that there's sodium everywhere in your body, and so it doesn't just cause you to pee out extra water. It causes you to pee out water because you lose sodium. And the thing that stores glycogen, which is the fullness, glycogen requires sodium, glucose, and water. So you remove that sodium, the glucose goes back in the bloodstream, the water comes out, and that's why your blood sugar climbs up.
And that's what happened to me in 20.
Yeah. And so you can fix that if you're tracking your blood sugar. Once that blood sugar starts climbing, it's called hyponatremia, low blood sodium. Once that blood sugar starts climbing, and you know what's going on, you reintroduce the sodium. That binds with the glycogen. It pulls water from the skin back up to the muscles. You can come out harder.
Yeah.
The problem is people get that contest mindset where they think when they look, the reason they can start looking softer after the diuretic, and they think I need to pull more water, when it's the opposite. They pulled the water. The problem is they pulled water from the muscle also. We need to put that water back in the muscle. And I think more diuretics will work, where all it does is exacerbate the problem. Blood sugar climbs even higher, and they just get softer and softer.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the other problem is as well is things like hydrochlorothiazide is most often prescribed for blood pressure.
Yeah.
So people are told to restrict their water or restrict their sodium. They're just told just do what you normally do and use this to bring down your hypertension.
And it's mild, so I mean, I'm fine with it. Like I said, my only concern is that if you it's really not as much if is when you flatten out. I just don't panic and think more will work better.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm also as well. I'm not a fan of tapering water as well. Because again, I just look softer.
Well, you're so round and you carry so much size. It's really tough. Anything we do with you is just. You see, if you notice, a lot of people will work with smaller competitors, and then a lot of the bikini and figure girls, and they'll get a name for themselves working with them. Because when you don't carry much muscle, yeah, exactly. And there's only how many guys work with large male pro bodybuilders? Chris Aceto, Chad Nichols. There's not very many people, and even Chad doesn't work with many people anymore. It's because it's hard because every effect is amplified times 10 because there's so much muscle mass and so much fluid in the. I mean, 70% of your muscle or more is water. So trying to pull water from the body without pulling water from 250 plus pounds of which 70% is water is really tough. So it's really what you're trying to do is you're not trying to pull water as much as you're trying to repartition water. You're trying to keep as much water in the body, just make sure all of it's in the muscle and none of it's in the skin. And that's why I use the blood sugar tracking because then you can track when it starts. Because when it starts pulling from the muscle, that blood sugar starts climbing.
Well, that's what it's always my legs that go smooth.
Yeah.
If my upper body can look dry, if I have no vascularity in my legs and my separation disappears and I get a sort of skin fold over my glutes, that's when I'm starting to
Your back as well, though, isn't it?
My lower back.
No, your back. It just doesn't look as.
It doesn't look stiff.
Yeah.
My chest as well. I mean, it's mainly my leg detail, the dryness.
Yeah.
If my legs look dry, then I'm good.
Yeah.
So,
You should have done men's physique. It's way easier.
I got some board shorts upstairs if you want to switch.
last
Yeah,
minute.
what's your waist size? Yeah, 30.
26.
Oh, 26, perfect. All right, we'll get that on.
I love those.
That's what I wear too.
Flex really
Big
used to
time.
have a 22-inch waist. I've heard. Yeah.
That's crazy.